Halloween. Just the word conjures up images of grinning pumpkins, flickering candles, and children dressed as ghosts and goblins. It's a night for spooky stories, sweet treats, and celebrating all things eerie. But have you ever wondered where these traditions come from? Why do we carve pumpkins? And what's the deal with dressing up in costumes? Halloween, as we know it, is a tapestry woven from ancient beliefs and centuries-old customs. It's a fascinating journey to trace its roots back to the ancient Celts and their festival of Samhain. So, buckle up. We're about to embark on a thrilling adventure through the history of Halloween. Get ready to uncover the secrets behind this beloved holiday. From its origins in the mists of time to its modern-day incarnation as a global phenomenon. It's time to delve into the fascinating world of Halloween. To understand Halloween, we need to travel back in time, way back to the ancient Celtic civilization. The Celts lived over 2,000 years ago in what is now Ireland, Britain, and northern France. They celebrated their new year on November 1st, marking the end of summer and the harvest season and the beginning of a dark, cold winter. The Celts observed a festival on the eve of their new year, October 31st. This festival was called Samhain, pronounced Samhain. Samhain was a time of great significance for the Celts. It wasn't just a celebration of the changing seasons, it was also a time when the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead was believed to be at its thinnest. Imagine a world where spirits could roam freely among the living, where the veil between realms was lifted under the harvest moon. This was the world of the Celts during Samhain. During Samhain, the Celts believed that the spirits of the dead could return to Earth. They celebrated with huge bonfires. These bonfires served a dual purpose. They were a source of warmth and light, but they also held a deeper meaning. The Celts believed that the flames attracted insects, which in turn attracted bats. Bats were associated with the other world, further blurring the lines between the living and the dead. The Celts also wore costumes, often made from animal skins and heads during Samhain. This wasn't just for fun. They believed that by disguising themselves, they could either ward off evil spirits or blend in with them and avoid harm. Imagine encountering figures draped in animal hides, their faces hidden behind masks. Spooky, right? Samhain was a time of both celebration and fear, a time when the living and the dead came face to face, a time when the boundaries of the natural and supernatural dissolved. It was this ancient festival that laid the foundation for the Halloween we celebrate today. As centuries passed, the Roman Empire spread its influence, eventually reaching the Celtic lands. The Romans had their own festivals, and over time these festivals began to blend with the Celtic traditions. Two Roman festivals, in particular, played a role in shaping Halloween. The first was Feralia, a day in late October when Romans commemorated the passing of the dead. The second was a day to honor Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruits and trees. The apple, a fruit that features prominently in Halloween celebrations, was sacred to Pomona. By the 9th century, Christianity had spread throughout much of Europe. In an attempt to replace pagan festivals with Christian observances, the Church designated November 1st as All Saints' Day, also known as All Hallows' Day. This day was followed by All Souls' Day on November 2nd, a day to remember the dead. The influence of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, combined with the existing Celtic and Roman traditions, gradually transformed Samhain into what we now know as Halloween. The name Halloween itself is a shortened version of All Hallows' Eve, the evening before All Hallows' Day. Halloween is a time for embracing the unknown, for confronting our fears, and for celebrating the cycle of life and death. It's no wonder that this holiday is shrouded in mystery and intrigue. Let's unravel some of the fascinating facts and meanings behind Halloween. Did you know that the colors of Halloween, orange and black, each hold a symbolic meaning? Orange is associated with the harvest and the warmth of the sun. Black, on the other hand, represents death, darkness, and the unknown. Beyond the colors, Halloween is teeming with symbols that have been passed down through generations. Bats, often seen as eerie creatures, are associated with the other world and the ability to navigate through darkness. Black cats, often portrayed as witches' familiars, are linked to intuition and the mysteries of the night. Owls, with their nocturnal habits and piercing gaze, symbolize wisdom, and the ability to see what is hidden. Halloween is a time when these symbols take center stage, reminding us of the interconnectedness of life, death, and the natural world. The sweet history of treats. Let's talk about everyone's favorite part of Halloween, trick-or-treating. The tradition of going door to door in costumes, requesting treats, has a long and fascinating history. During the Middle Ages in Europe, a practice known as souling emerged. On All Souls' Day, November 2nd, poor people would go door to door, offering prayers for the dead in exchange for food. These soulers were often children. The food they received was called soul cakes. Over time, souling evolved into a more light-hearted tradition. By the 19th century, children in England and Ireland were going door to door on Halloween, dressed in costumes and asking for treats. This practice, known as guising, was the forerunner to modern-day trick-or-treating. The phrase trick or treat is believed to have originated in North America in the early 20th century. It's a playful threat, suggesting that if a treat is not provided, a trick might be played. Today, trick-or-treating is a beloved Halloween tradition enjoyed by children and adults alike. It's a time for community, for sharing, and for indulging in sweet treats. No Halloween celebration would be complete without the iconic jack-o'-lantern. But where did this tradition of carving pumpkins come from? The answer lies in an Irish folk tale about a man named Stingy Jack. Legend has it that Stingy Jack was a trickster who outsmarted the devil himself. When Jack died, he was denied entry to both heaven and hell. Instead, he was condemned to wander the earth for eternity with only a burning lump of coal to light his way. Jack placed the coal inside a carved-out turnip, creating a makeshift lantern to guide him through the darkness. The Irish began referring to this ghostly figure as Jack of the Lantern, which was eventually shortened to Jack-o'-lantern. When Irish immigrants arrived in North America, they discovered that pumpkins native to the Americas made excellent lanterns. Pumpkins were larger and easier to carve than turnips. And so the tradition of carving jack-o'-lanterns from pumpkins was born. Today, jack-o'-lanterns, with their glowing grins, are a symbol of Halloween, reminding us of the fine line between the world of the living and the realm of the supernatural. Remember those spooky Celtic costumes we talked about earlier? Well, they weren't just a passing fad. The tradition of wearing costumes on Halloween has deep roots in our history. As we've learned, the Celts believed that wearing costumes during Samhain allowed them to either blend in with spirits or ward them off. This belief in the power of costumes to protect against evil spirits persisted throughout the Middle Ages. During the medieval period, Halloween costumes often reflected religious themes. People would dress as saints, angels, and biblical figures. These costumes were worn for parades and plays that celebrated All Saints' Day. By the Victorian era, Halloween costumes had become more whimsical and playful. People would dress up as fairies, gypsies, and characters from literature. Costume parties became a popular way to celebrate Halloween. Today, Halloween costumes run the gamut from spooky to silly, from homemade creations to elaborate store-bought ensembles. Whether we're channeling our favorite superheroes, embracing our inner creatures of the night, or opting for a touch of humor, Halloween costumes allow us to step outside ourselves and embrace the spirit of imagination and transformation. Once a predominantly Celtic and European tradition, Halloween has become a truly global phenomenon. How did this happen? It's a tale of cultural exchange, immigration, and the enduring appeal of a good scare. The spread of Halloween can be traced, in part, to the mass emigration of Irish and Scottish people to North America in the 19th century. These immigrants brought their Halloween customs with them, and over time these traditions took root and spread throughout the United States. From North America, Halloween spread to other parts of the world through a combination of factors, including American pop culture, globalization, and the simply fun nature of the holiday. Today, Halloween is celebrated in countries far beyond its original borders, from Canada and Mexico to Japan and Australia. While the specific ways in which Halloween is celebrated might vary from country to country, the core elements of the holiday, dressing up in costumes, carving pumpkins, and indulging in sweet treats, have a universal appeal that transcends cultural boundaries. From its ancient origins as the Celtic festival of Samhain to its modern-day incarnation as a global celebration, Halloween has stood the test of time. It's a holiday that reflects our deepest fears, our fascination with the unknown, and our enduring need to connect with the past and celebrate the cycle of life and death. A tradition that connects us to our past, to our communities, and to something larger than ourselves.